Welcome to the Net Profit Podcast with Ryan Kibler, your net profit CFO, helping business owners like you grow their net profit one episode at a time. And now your host, Ryan Kibler.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Net Profit Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Kibler, the Net Profit CFO. Today, I have a really good friend with me, Rose Moran. She is going to be talking to us about social media and marketing and how you can really position yourself with content marketing and why it's really, really important for you and your law firm. Rose, thank you for taking the time and welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ryan. Really excited to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, I want to give you an opportunity. Obviously, I gave a little bit of a background. You're a legal marketing strategist, but I want to give you an opportunity to tell the audience, kind of in your own words, a little bit more about you, kind of how you got to where you are, and just a little bit more about your background.
Sure. Thanks, Ryan. So I've been in legal marketing, oh my God, almost 15 years. And I am kind of sad to say that I'm that old, but I am. I was in big law for almost a decade. I've done everything in legal marketing you can think of, from events to biz dev to strategy to content marketing. Then I worked at a trial graphics company, so saw the other end of legal services, and then went out on my own. And my favorite thing to do is help firms bridge the business development with their marketing communication. So how do you figure out who your target market is? Who are the clients? What are their pain points? And then move that over into the digital and communication space. Because the first thing anyone does when they get a referral for your name is they Google you. And then how do you make sure that you show up and are there and have that authority and the credibility that that referral partner gave to you in your online presence? And how do you show that day in and day out through your website content, through the articles that you produce, through your social media, through your email newsletters? And how does that build that relationship and answer those pain points for clients?
For sure. Love that. And I think, for a lot of not just lawyers and law firms, but a lot of business owners, that is a part of the business that most business owners don't want to sit down and do, right? I think a lot of people that get into business, they're an expert at what they do. If you're a lawyer, an expert at being a lawyer, but a lot of them also can generate business for themselves. They get out there and they, do business development. But a lot of times I think that means getting out, shaking hands, meeting people, marketing. And that's kind of the person that they are. And they don't want to necessarily sit behind a desk and create content.
Right.
And I think and even from my own personal experience, I don't like creating content at all. I think it's a hard part for business owners. And so I definitely love that, I like to say that I'm the easy button for finance. You are the easy button for content, right? And I love that. Because it's not an easy part to do on your own.
Yeah. And I think oftentimes we all do this for ourselves. We get into our heads about what we should write and what we should say, but you really have all the information at your fingertips. It's just finding that partner to help you tell your story and help you tell your story in a way that resonates with your audience. And that is also aligned with what people are looking for, because one of the really cool things we do is we have an SEO-informed strategy. So what are people searching for online? What are your competitors doing? How do you position yourself to show up in search, not just when you type in your name, but for all of the related services that surround what your practice is?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that probably helps you with relevance too, right? I mean, as far as, because I think a lot of us sit there and we're like, well, I have all this knowledge in my head. What the heck should I write about?
Right. And we help you hit that easy button, because what we do is we interview you. You don't even have to write anything if you don't want to. So we'll find a time. We'll do that SEO research up front. We'll look at your competitors. We'll figure out where are the gaps? What are you strong in? What's your biz dev strategy? Who are you going after? What are their pain points that we talked about? And then we'll come up with topics. And then 30 minutes, just have a conversation like you and I are having right now. We'll get that information and come back to you with an article. And I know everyone right now is video, video, video. Video is fantastic. But when you look at the research that's done for the in-house decision makers at small, medium, large size companies, the GCs, the C-suite, they trust articles more than they trust video, and they prefer to read articles more than they prefer to watch video. And so how do we meet them where they're at and create that content that you have and in your head that helps them, and then provides that authority and the credibility so that they're ready to hire you and they know that you're the person they need to hire when they need a legal partner?
Yeah, it's really interesting that you say that. I mean, I think video can be really great when you're selling a product that kind of needs to be exampled or kind of seen how it works. right? I think that's where video probably like hits it out of the park.
Mhm.
But when it comes to like like building credibility and building that authority, it makes sense that a short video for 30 or 45 seconds is not going to do that.
Yeah, it's really hard to do that in such a short time frame, and not everybody feels comfortable in front of video. And so that's where articles are easy, because for those that are old, like we've established, I am, we prefer to read. And so I can skim it, I can read it at my own pace, I can understand what the high points are. But a video, it's not my comfort zone to take in information. I know there's a ton of people in the world that do that. YouTube wouldn't exist, TikTok wouldn't exist, Instagram wouldn't exist without it. But there's
Sure.
a time and a place, and figuring out what that is for your practice is really important. And thought leadership and videos, like from what we see in the research, it just doesn't jive right now. And, it will. And it's a great thing to have if you want that arrow in your quiver, but making sure that you have that content and content strategy aligned with your targets and your prospects is really important. And then make it easy. Like, it doesn't have to make your brain hurt.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, your process of sitting down with somebody and just like, doing an interview, that's, I think that's a great way to get the knowledge that's in someone's head out and kind of
Mhm.
down on paper. And then, if you're not a writer, even if you do that yourself, right? Like, even for myself, even if I jump in a Zoom room and I just say, okay, today I'm going to talk about this, and I start talking, and then I have it transcribed. But then it's like, then I got to edit it and kind of make sure that
Mhm.
it's organized and make sure that it would make sense to a reader.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of work that happens after the transcription. And so I really love that you're helping lawyers with that, because if you're not a writer at heart, like
Mhm.
you're not going to love that work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And a lot of lawyers are writers at heart, but writing for the internet, writing for your target audience is different than writing a legal brief.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to put all this information and make them super dense, and that's great. And it has a time and a place. Like, that's a wonderful law review article. But when you're doing marketing and you're trying to build that credibility and authority, people, no matter how smart they are, don't always have the brain space to read a very dense article. So we try to make it very approachable, very readable in what we do every day with our law firm partners.
Yeah, for sure.
And
And
oh, sorry, Ryan, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, some people take that transcript and they think they can put it in AI and it generates this amazing article. But the challenge with AI is there's no value add to it. And it kind of strips the soul a little bit and the personality from who you are.
Yep.
What we really try to do is take that content that's created and make it into an article that's not just based on AI, but it's really based on who you are, because there's things that are picked up through the conversation and through a relationship that a computer can never do. I mean, AI is a fantastic starting point to get that transcript, for instance, or to get an outline, but it can't make the leap to an ending point. Like, the value is missed. And so
Yep.
that's also where we try to add value as well, to really make you stand out in a marketplace that's filled with a lot of AI or AI slop.
Yeah, and I think I want my audience to really, take this in, because I'll share from my experience in using AI to write some things. Right now, where we're at today, we're actually the last day of March 2025. AI is not advanced enough to
Mhm.
really give you answers. You
Mhm.
have to know what you're looking for and
Mhm.
kind of guide it and direct it. I mean, it does a great job of producing, and it can write way faster than I can for sure. But you have to know the end answer, which I think
Mhm.
is kind of what you were just
Yeah.
talking about. Is like you have to know what that picture of done looks like and what that
Mhm.
end answer is, so that you can kind of guide it and get it to that point. And like usually, I would say on average for me, it probably takes me 5 to 6 tweaks
Mhm.
from my first original, like, hey, what about this, to no, change, you're right, like, no, change this, no, make it sound more like this, no, like before I'm done, it's at least 5 or 6 entries. So you have to know the answers and
Mhm.
know what you're really looking for. Otherwise, AI is not going to help you.
No, it's not. I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Like, AI is a great starting point. It's a terrible ending point. You
Yeah.
have to take it to the finish line, and you still need a person to be able to do that. Whatever the output is, whether it's finances, whether it's content marketing, whether it's, underwater basket weaving tutorials, you still have to have a human touch to make it understandable.
Yeah, for
Because in
sure.
the age of the technology age with like a little rocket ship, everybody knows it's AI. So you've got to add some pizzazz to it.
For sure. Yeah. I completely agree with that. And I've definitely seen that from my experience. I want to, you and I talked before we jumped on the show, and we've met several times. I want to dive into a piece that I think, also makes you really unique. And that is like, we've been talking about content and, how you can kind of help lawyers push the easy button on content. But, I think what's also important is there's also a strategy with it, and it's
Mhm.
got to align with your brand.
Yep.
And I want to give you an opportunity to talk about that for a little bit and the importance of that and kind of take the conversation in that direction.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Ryan. Your brand is who you are. It's like the caramel core within your company
Yep.
or within yourself if you're a single practitioner. And making sure that that is touching everything you do, whether it's your website content, it's the content marketing you put out, it's your elevator pitch, it's your pitch deck, it's your marketing materials, is so important because you want to provide not only your clients, but your prospects with really a single source of truth of who you are and how you work with them. And that really impacts how people perceive you and perceive your company. And if you want to be fun and fun loving and loud and amazing, like make that pull through for everything. If you want to have a more corporate perspective on everything because that's who you are and that's what your company is and that's what your clients need, perfect. Pull that through on everything though, because that consistency and it's really important because that's how people understand who you are and how they can work with you. Because at the end of the day, we still like to work with people we know, like, and trust. And so if you want to work with someone that has a more fun vibe, personal vibe, uh, corporate vibe, you have to make sure that you guys are aligned in your approach because that's where the best relationships come in and making sure that you feel comfortable putting out who your firm is, what you stand for, what are your service areas. It's really important because if someone doesn't know what you do and who you are, it's really hard for them to understand how they're going to work with you and how you can help them.
For sure. And I'm a big believer, like that having that brand established and
Mhm.
having who you are out
Yep.
there is going to help your firm have clients
Mhm.
that get along with that brand,
Exactly. Exactly.
which I'm a firm believer of means, easier to work with those clients. Number
Mhm.
one, because you
Right.
guys, you know, it's kind of like your clients become the people that you would hang out with, right?
Yeah.
And
I
go
mean,
do events
that's the
with,
dream, right?
right? And then your clients are going to be happier and better reviews along the way,
Mhm.
right? Because the experience was something that they got along with. It
Yeah.
matched who they were,
Mhm.
right? Versus like if that brand is like just a blank canvas and people have
Mhm.
no idea,
Right.
then they're only coming to you based on your expertise. But
Mhm.
from a like working kind of operation standpoint, you might not get along, which can make the experience miserable on both sides.
And the consistency factor is really important for what they can expect too, because if you put out that your brand stands for X, Y, and Z, and all of your marketing is surrounding that, but really when you work with clients, it's about A, B, and C. When you have that disconnect, it doesn't always make for a great client experience. So what we really try to do when we figure out what your brand is and your brand positioning and how you talk about yourself is to understand what is the client experience and what pain points are you solving for these clients, and then how do we turn that into your brand rather than reverse engineer it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure you see, a lot of lawyers and law firms probably come to you and maybe they've been producing content already, but they don't have that brand piece that goes
Yeah.
along with it. And
Yep.
you guys, really helping them kind of establish that and,
Hmm.
help them get that part right
Hmm.
is really important to complement their strategy on
Yeah,
their content.
absolutely. And that has to pull into the content marketing and really just everything you do and how you talk about people on and offline, because having that strategy aligned with who you are and how you provide service, that helps you get clients in the door, like you said, that resonate, and it helps you build your business and it helps you grow.
Yep. And I think it even has to flow through the website too, right? Same,
Absolutely. People
same
have to hit your website,
consistency.
know what you do, who you help, how you help them. Because if they don't do that, they're going to click away because they don't know why you are there to solve their problems.
Yep. And then I think, probably one of the, last couple parts we'll touch on here, there's really a big bonus to, the branding and the content that's made. And
Mhm.
that is you guys can also help them with social media
Yep.
and having brand right there and also having content on social media
Hmm.
consistently.
Hmm.
So you kind of have, that covered as well,
Yeah.
which I know as a business owner, like I'm probably not on social media enough, like hardly ever. So I know that that is a big headache, big pain point for business owners too, to really manage that and, have content out there. But that's what people look at when they go to hire you.
Absolutely. They look at your LinkedIn profile for corporate law firms. They want to see what your experience is, what you've done, who do you know, whether we like it or not. That's one of the places where they evaluate us. So how do we take that content that we've built for your website, that we've put together for these articles, and then we put it on LinkedIn? Because I really believe in the reuse, repurpose, recycle. I think I got my 3 R's wrong in the wrong order, but make it once and create it and distribute it a bajillion times. And so how do we make the biggest bang for your buck when we produce content? And then how do we take that brand and create content for social specifically that showcases who you are, who your attorneys are, and what your firm stands for? And that can be in the form of original content that we've talked about. It can be curated content. It can be sharing industry news, client wins, testimonials, experience. Like there's a lot of really cool ways for us to help you show who you are and how you help people.
For
And
sure.
it takes the burden off of you because, like you said, a lot of people don't want to do it for a variety of reasons. And it can feel time consuming. It can feel like there's a lot of pressure for it. But what we want to do is make it easy for you and make it easy for you to tell your story in a way that feels really authentic.
Yeah. And you've got to, especially as you grow, I mean, really have to look at your time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
if it's not efficient, I mean, it's not just the opportunity cost, right? I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
easy thing is to say, well, you could go sign a new case, right?
Right.
But it's also just, an efficiency factor too,
Mm-hmm.
I think, of, how long is it going to take you as an owner every single month to do it? And, how many hours? And then
Mm-hmm.
also, do you really love it? Because I think if you don't
Right.
love it, you probably won't stick with it
Right. Right.
versus just hiring it out. And,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of business owners think that they just have to dive all in and have everything all at once and make big
Yeah.
investments, when I think in reality, you work with them and kind of can start them out small and continue to grow
Yep.
with them as they grow and
Yeah.
add more pieces
Yeah.
as they need it.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of firms struggle because they've had a marketing partner in the past. So you need to be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You need to produce a blog post every day. Once a week is fine if you have to. You also need to be on podcasts, doing webinars, and that's really overwhelming for a small to medium-sized firm. So how do we figure out what makes sense for you? What platforms do you need to be on? At what cadence do you need to be producing content? How much time can you partner with us? Because while we want to hit the easy button for you, we still need to have those communications and that dialogue. So what does that look like? And where can we make sure that we're meeting you in a spot that feels comfortable and is going to help your firm grow?
For sure. Yeah. I love that sweet spot too, right? It's not just about
Mm-hmm.
time. It's also about what you can do as an owner and,
Yeah.
what you can really invest into
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
and money, figuring
Time,
out,
time and money.
what resources do you have now? What can you invest and figuring out, where's the right spot for you?
Right.
And I think just, from the sounds of it, obviously I've not been through like a consultation with you or anything like that, but it's just being honest with people. And, like sometimes I get on potential client meetings and if we're not a right fit, like just letting someone know that, or letting
Yeah.
someone know like, hey, you're not in a place where you need the
Mm-hmm.
full suite
Yeah.
of services yet,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Exactly. Like start off small, do an article a quarter, do one LinkedIn post a week. Like let's start there and then we can ramp up as you see that it's working, you feel comfortable with it. More people on your team, if you have a team, want to be involved. But sometimes starting big isn't the best place. Start where you feel comfortable. And if that is starting big, fantastic. Let's blow it out of the water and make your competitors cry. Or we start with a couple things and see how it rolls and then work up to that point where your competitors are crying.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's really important. But that's, that I think that's why, you and I get along
Mhm.
because, that is part of our brand, right? Is
Yeah,
like
it
really
is.
being honest with people, meeting them where they are, helping
Mm-hmm.
them in the ways that we can. And
Mm-hmm.
also, if something is not a right fit for them, like just letting them know
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I think honesty and how you communicate with people really sets the stage for a long-term relationship. And I have no interest not being truthful with a client, with a prospect, with a friend. I mean, you just have to lay it out and see where it goes. But it's not going to help anybody if you're not truthful or honest.
For sure. Completely agree.
Mm.
Well, Rose, I think we covered a lot today. I would highly encourage, my audience, rewind this, listen to it a second time, because we packed a lot in here in a short amount of time on branding, content, social media, really important parts of your law firm. I also, before we end today, I want to give you an opportunity for my listeners, where is the best place for them to connect with you and work with you so that they can get help, producing content and getting their branding right and all that.
Sure. So they can reach out to me at craftedidentities.com is my website, or Rose Moran on LinkedIn. I'd love to talk to you about how we can help your firm be seen in search, get your message out there with content marketing, and just be a sounding board to help.
For sure. Greatly appreciate that. I will make sure that my team gets your links down in the show notes so that my audience can connect with you. And I would highly recommend that they do, because what you do for lawyers and law firms is really, really important, and kind of in the same position that I sit in, like being able to push the easy button sometimes in your business can be really, really powerful. So
Yep, it can. Thank you so much for having me, Ryan. It was wonderful to chat.
absolutely. Thank you for coming on. And until next time, everybody, go accelerate your profit. See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Net Profit Podcast with Ryan Kimler. Make sure to subscribe or follow the show on your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to check the show notes for our guest contact information and to connect with Ryan on his website, netprofitcfo.com.